We acknowledge that Tri-Cities Community Television operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them along with the waters and all that is above and below.
Welcome to the Face to Face. I'm your host, Geneviève Kyle-Lefebvre. Face to Face is a bilingual series of video recorded here in Coquitlam. Today I'm sitting with Shawn Marsolais. Shawn is the founder of Blind Beginnings. So welcome, Shawn.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. So what is actually Blind Beginnings?
Blind Beginnings is a nonprofit charitable organization that supports children and youth who are blind across British Columbia, as well as their families. So we provide many different programs for kids who are blind from birth to 21, starting with early intervention for kids birth to 5, so supporting those children to reach their developmental milestones, and then on to support groups and counseling for parents, and then as the kids get older, for the kids and the teens, we have a youth leadership and pre-employment program supporting teens who are blind to get some transferable employment skills, and summer camp programs and life skills instruction. So kind of supporting from birth all the way through childhood to hopefully so that hopefully these youth will grow up to be independent, self-sufficient, and well-meaning, have a well-meaning life.
Amazing. So Shawn, are you legally blind?
I am, yes.
Okay. And what's the difference between, you hear legally blind, you hear can you actually explain to us what's that mean actually?
I can, yeah. So legal blindness is sort of what the government determines how blind you must be to qualify for any services. And it's 10% or less of your vision. So 20/200, 20/20 is perfect vision, you hear that. 20/200 is 10%. So that means what you could see with perfect vision from 200 feet away, a person with 10% vision would have to be 20 feet from that object. So when I was born, I was about 10% vision, but I have a degenerative eye condition, so gradually my vision has deteriorated, and now I just really have light perception, so I'm more close to totally blind. But really, if within the blind community, anywhere from 10% up to total blindness is legal blindness.
I understand. Mm-hmm. And why did you decided to step up and help other people that are like you, blind?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed when I was 5 years old with this eye condition, and at the time my parents were looking for support, and they went to CNIB, which is kind of the big organization in Canada that supports people who are blind, but there were no kids there. It was mostly seniors, because the majority of blind people are seniors who've lost their vision later in life. And so they kind of went home and thought, I guess we're on our own. And my adjustment to blindness, the journey was difficult because we didn't really have a lot of support. I didn't actually know about my vision until I was 12. They just thought if they told me that I would give up on life. So they didn't tell me in the beginning. And because I had 10% vision, I could navigate, but I bumped into a lot of things. I was clumsy, I was uncoordinated. I thought that I wasn't athletic. So when they told me at 12, oh, you have this degenerative condition, it's gonna get worse. You're legally blind, you're going blind, obviously.
So you didn't know?
I didn't know.
And you were just trying?
I wore glasses, and lots of kids wear glasses, so I thought I'm just like them. And when you don't know how everyone else sees, you don't know that you're seeing differently, right? So I knew that I was clumsy and bumped into things, but I didn't know that everyone else was seeing better than me. I just thought that I was more clumsy than everybody else. So when I found out, I was in grade 7, and I was devastated. I thought, I'm not normal. Like, no one's going to want to be my friend. No one's going to want to marry me. No one's going to want, am I going to be able to have a job? Am I just going to live with my parents for the rest of my life? I'd never met anybody who was blind. And I stumbled through, and eventually I met other people who were blind, and, met role models and met peers, and I made it. I got through it. But after working in the blindness field, so I had an opportunity to work at a school for the blind in England after university, and that's when I realized that I wanted to support these kids. I saw their potential, and I thought, like, I don't know, if I could help kids that are growing up today have an easier time than I did, that would be really great. So after working for about 5 years, I actually worked for the CNIB in Children's Services. It's the Canadian National Institute for the Blind.
Thank you.
I quit my job and Googled how do I start a nonprofit, and and that was 17 years ago. So I just thought we needed more support for families like mine. And if my family had had that support initially, then my journey would have been easier.
Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about in the Tri-Cities. So you live locally here in the Tri-Cities?
I do. I live in Coquitlam, yeah.
And so who are the families around that you help, and how can they reach you? And do you have any service local here, Tri-Cities?
So we support British Columbia, like children and youth all across BC, but we do have families in the Tri-Cities, and actually 3 of our 8 staff live in Coquitlam. So we have early intervention services, and one of our early intervention specialists lives in Coquitlam and supports Coquitlam families, and actually all the Tri-Cities families. So, she's visiting families in their homes when they have kids birth to 5, and supporting the child to, like, if you can't see that toy across the room, how are you going to be motivated to crawl towards it or eventually walk towards it? So it's kind of supporting kids who are blind to reach those developmental milestones, but also supporting the parents, because most parents have not had the experience of knowing a blind person before their child is born. It's unexpected. So, they need some suggestions, like, how do I do this? What toys will the child be interested in? What will motivate them? What about introducing food? Like, color contrast. Does the food match the plate? If it's the same color or a similar color, the child, if they have some level of vision, might not be able to see it, so they're not going to want to, like, pick it up and eat it, right? So our early intervention specialists meet people in their homes and work with any other therapists that are working with them to kind of educate about vision. They also talk to the family about the child's diagnosis, like explain to them what your child might be seeing, because obviously the child can't explain it at that point. And so our office is based in Vancouver, but families from the Tri-Cities come to us either on Zoom or in person for many of our programs.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think you have on the impact on families here on the Tri-Cities? I mean, I know you have all over the province, but locally, like, have you met some people, then you had to, like, you changed their life in some ways, right?
I hope I have changed their lives, yeah. I think, I'm thinking of one family who she had a 16-month-old daughter when I started working with her, and I provided individual counseling to her. And then, so I'm also a registered clinical counselor, so that's kind of something I do as well at Blind Beginnings. So this mom attended individual counseling with me, but also our parent support group. And that's a group where parents can connect with other parents who are raising a blind child for 8 consecutive weeks and just talk about some of the challenges that they're facing that are unique, right? Because if they go to their local mom and tot group or whatever, their child is probably the only one that's blind, and it can feel really isolating. So we're connecting people, we're kind of creating this network of support. This family also had the early interventionists coming into their home, and they come to our play group. We have a holiday party. So Blind Beginnings is really about, like, giving parents the tools to be able to parent a blind child, but also connecting them with that community of support and introducing them to blind role models too. So when a parent meets me, they can see right away that, okay, my child has potential to be employed one day, right? I kind of am the example for them that all the things that they hoped for their child are still possible.
That's amazing. If someone is interested into getting involved with Blind Beginnings, is that possible? And if yes, what they can do and how can they reach Blind Beginnings?
There are many ways people can get involved. I mean, we always need donations. We are a nonprofit. Volunteers are also needed. So we're about to head off to our Camp Limitless this weekend, and we need volunteers that help out at camps. We have a fundraising committee of volunteers, so volunteers that help put on fundraising events. We're doing an exciting event in October called Blind Beginnings Got Talent, and basically we'll be showcasing blind youth and adults. Like they'll be
Do you have the date?
October 23rd.
Excellent.
Yes. So we're putting auditions out right now for people who are blind to submit their audition tapes. I don't know if they're called tapes anymore. Videos.
Yes.
Of themselves doing their talent, and then they'll come and perform their talent on October 23rd at our office in Vancouver, and it'll be a fundraiser. We'll be selling tickets. We'll have judges. So kind of basing it off of the America's Got Talent. So that's really fun. October is Blindness Awareness Month. So we really want to showcase the abilities of people who are blind in October. We want to showcase abilities all the time, but that's the event that we're going to do in October to do that. So there's other programs that people could get involved in. But I think those are kind of the big ones that are coming up soon.
Mm-hmm. I know sometimes you give talks because I'm aware through some people that I know, then you've been to different places and
Yes.
and gave some talks. So what do you talk about? Is it for people that are blind? But the person that I know is not blind.
Yes.
So I'm curious. So maybe do you talk about awareness and how to support people that are blind?
It's a Blindness 101 workshop. And yes, we provide that to any group that's interested. And we also hold Blindness 101 workshops at our office. So individuals who are interested can also reach out. It's a 2 to 3 hour workshop, depending on the group. And it is basically like blindness etiquette. How do you interact? You know, what language are you allowed to use? Can you use the word look or see when talking to somebody?
Like I was asking earlier, right?
Exactly.
Because you don't know, right?
Exactly. And how to guide somebody. So you get to practice sighted guide. Your partner is blindfolded, and then you get to be blindfolded and be guided. There's a Braille activity. So we introduce people to Braille, talk about some of the social emotional aspects of blindness, and just answer people's questions. So if it's a business, then it might be more catered to, like, how can we make our website accessible? Or, materials in alternate format, or just that basic, when do I help the person who's blind and when do I not help, right? And how do I know whether they need help or not? So it's really, I think it's a fun, interactive and educational workshop, and hopefully at the end of it, because I'm the person who facilitates the workshop, they've had exposure, so they've been in the room with somebody who, at least one person who's blind, and that usually makes people feel a lot more comfortable if they've never had that experience before. Most people are a little uncomfortable at first and not really sure how to talk to me or interact with me. So I think it's very helpful. And my passion, my hope is that eventually the whole world is educated, because it makes my life easier the more understanding other people are. So I'm personally motivated to do this workshop. And we do have a grant over the next year and a half to do the Blindness 101 workshop at no cost to organizations. So if people are interested, they should definitely get in touch with me. They can find more information on our website, blindbeginnings.ca, or email me, Shawn@blindbeginnings.ca. We also have a podcast. It's called Limitless, the Blind Beginnings podcast, and I'm the host. And then each week I'm joined by blind youth and youth alumni, and we talk about different blindness related issues. Sometimes we interview interesting blind people who are doing cool things. And so that's also a really great resource for people who want to learn more about blindness. Maybe you don't have the capacity for a workshop, but you can listen to the podcast, and there's over 200 episodes, so you can kind of scroll your way through, and we release every other week. So more coming.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is.
As a podcaster myself, I can tell you this is a lot of work.
It's
wow.
fun though. I love it.
It's a lot of fun. I love to interview. You get to be on my seat, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is easier. I
think. Sometimes. Okay, I'm just a little curious. Can we touch on, you said like in the workshop, you say you cover what is a language? Because even myself, I was wondering how am I going to explain to you like, look towards me, or like can you just tell us a little bit what is the appropriate language for people that are listening to us? We probably all wonder what is the right thing to say, and also, I mean, nobody wants to
offend
or not say the right thing, right?
Yes, yeah. So basically, visual language is fine. So blind people will say nice to see you even if I can't see you. I'll say that I watched Netflix last night even though I didn't watch it with my eyes. We use the same visual language, and we're perfectly comfortable with sighted people using that language when speaking to us. And actually, when people eliminate the visual language, it kind of cues us that you see us as different, and maybe you're a little bit uncomfortable. So like, it's totally fine to say see or look. If you're gonna say something like watch out, maybe have something in addition to that. Watch out for what?
The stairs, the carpet. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I think what gets confusing for people is sort of like, are you visually impaired? Are you partially sighted? Are you totally blind? Are you legally blind? What the heck word are we supposed to use? And that will vary depending on the person. So my rule of thumb is kind of pay attention to how the person refers to themselves. I refer to myself as blind. It's fine for you to use blind when talking about me. But there is also identity first language. So I'm a blind person, and then there's person first. I'm a person who is blind, and people in the disability community will pick and choose, you know, they'll decide which one they prefer. I'm fine with identity first. I talk about the blind children that I work with, because to me, blind is not a negative word. It's just another adjective, like beautiful, interesting, talented, fun. So putting it in front of woman isn't offensive, right? But I find that people who've lost their vision later in life really prefer that person first language, because they're a person first, a person who happens to be blind. So I get that it is a bit of a sticky, tricky, language is tricky to navigate. When you're referring to the community as a whole, I think blind community or people who are blind and partially sighted is kind of the politically correct way to say it. But rule of thumb, just like, how does the person refer to themselves, and then go with that.
I love it. Thank you for that. Shawn, you were part of Faces Tri-Cities, which is a local initiative here in the Tri-Cities. There's 50 women that got together to share one page of their story. I'm going to open to your page here, and you're at page 70. And I'm going to read your quote, okay?
Yeah.
So, stop trying so hard to fit in. You were born to stand out. So why did you choose that quote?
I feel like for the first probably 25 years of my life, I was trying so hard to fit in. I was trying to not look blind, to not be different, just to blend into the background, to be, you know, to try to fit in. And somewhere along the line, as I kind of took on, I don't know, this, like, I guess I adjusted to my blindness, and I realized this is not a deficit. I'm not at a deficit. I'm not less than anybody else. I realized that it was time to stand out, and it's okay to stand out.
Yes.
And because of my blindness, I'm able to, you know, change the world in some small way, and to stop feeling embarrassed and ashamed of that, and just be proud of who I am and what I'm able to do. So I really love that quote. It really spoke to me when I saw it. And I actually saw it on a plaque. We were on vacation in Drumheller, and I saw it written on some kind of a tile, and I wanted to buy it, but I couldn't read it. Like, I thought, why would I buy this? I'm not even gonna remember what it says. So I didn't buy it, but I did remember what it said, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's actually a quote, okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
So Shawn, talk to us a bit about your story. Why did you choose to talk about this specific story? And tell us about the story first.
Well, I tried to sum up my story of finding out I was blind, and then starting Blind Beginnings, and, you know, all in 2 little pages, which is really hard to do. So I really just tried to hit on the highlights. I think when I first found out that I was going to be blind, I was like, I got to make something of myself. I got to prove my parents wrong. Like, this isn't something to be devastated about. So I was like, got really involved in the music program during high school. And then after high school, I became an elite athlete and eventually went to the Paralympics. And then after university, I applied for this internship to work abroad. So I kept like pushing myself and challenging myself to do these hard things or scary things in a way to kind of prove my worth, I think. But eventually it was turned towards other people and helping other people. It's like, okay, I think I've proven that I deserve to be here. So now how can I help others that are, you know, going through what I've been through and hopefully make it easier for them along the way. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
I love it. I do feel that, because I'm a little bit like you, it's really hard now for me to work only on my vision of things. It has to have a community impact. And somehow it gives you 10 times more. Like, you're not expecting anything, but what you get back by changing other people's life, there's no words. There's no words.
It's true.
Well, Shawn, is there anything we didn't cover you would like to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Just thank you so much for the opportunity. It was really cool to be part of the book, and I'm excited for more people to learn about Blind Beginnings.
Excellent. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for what you do. Keep shining. I think what you do makes a huge difference here in the Tri-Cities and everywhere in British Columbia, of course. So thank you.
Thank you.
From Tri-Cities Community Television and myself, Geneviève Kyle-Lefebvre, thank you so much for joining us today.